Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 168 of our Be a Better You annual challenge. We're doing one thing every day, one thing every day this year to be a better version of ourselves. And this month, the area we're focusing on is contribution. How do you interact and engage and set an example for things outside of you? Most of the challenge is all about us and what's going on inside us and around us and how we're responding and reacting to it with emotional intelligence, of course. But this month is all about what impact do you want to have? Do you want to leave a legacy? Have you even thought about that? Depending on your age, you may not have even thought about it yet. So I'm going to share two tools today. One is and our topic is balance in giving. How do you know what is the right level of contribution and the right types of contribution for you? We're talking about this in different areas this month and with slight nuances of it because it's that important. Balance in giving, balance in our contribution, giving to things outside of ourselves is critical, because if we don't pay attention to it, just like some of us can become workaholics, some of us can become overwhelmed, burnt out, and see symptoms in our life if we are actually giving too much and doing too much for people outside of us and neglecting taking care of ourselves. I guess the balance is really between taking care of yourself in all the areas and aspects of your life and giving what you can, putting positive into the universe to the best of your ability, but in a way that feels right and awesome for you. Otherwise, what can happen? We can get overgiving can cause burnout. It can cause us to have chronic fatigue. It can cause us to have frustration or resentment. It can cause us to go from loving giving value and helping other people to actually feeling resentful or obligated, right? You feel obligated to do something, or do you feel energized by doing it? If we're neglecting self-care, that's the biggest red flag to me. And then if we're feeling obligated instead of inspired, that's a big red flag or sign for us too, to take a deep breath, look at what's going on, and decide what works for you. Undergiving can also have the same or negative impacts on us in us not feeling fulfilled. If you're not doing anything for anybody except yourself, number one, it's super duper selfish. It's not necessarily setting an example and making the world a better place. And you probably don't feel awesome about yourself. People that don't give or interact with other human beings tend to have lower self-esteem, lower level of confidence, lower love for themselves. And we don't want to be that way, right? Also, not contributing in any way, shape, or form or to the level that feels right for you can cause a lack of meaning. Maybe you just don't know what life is all about and what you're here for. Stagnation in personal growth is probably the biggest one that I see happening. We all know people that they went through high school, they graduated from high school or college, and then they never picked up another book. They never learned, they never asked questions, they were never curious. They just got their degree and are going through the motions of their life, but not really giving back in any way that's meaningful. They just stopped learning and stopped growing. The same happens when we stop interacting with, engaging, and giving value outside of ourselves in a contribution way, a contributory way. So balance means giving in a way that fills you up, does not drain you. So I'm going to share two methods now, after setting this up, that you can use to determine if you are, or your level of balance when it comes to contribution. One is the energy audit method. I'll share that first. And then the second is the 3-bucket time allocation strategy, which I really love. The energy audit method, how do you do it? What do you do? Well, you're looking at where your energy goes. So the first thing you do is you make a list of all your current contributions. Where you're volunteering, helping family, mentoring, donations, etc. Then for each task, on a scale of 1 to 10, you grade emotional energy given and emotional energy received. So are what you're putting into something emotionally, what's the rating of that 1 to 10? What you're getting out of that same thing that you're doing, 1 to 10. And then we're going to look at that. Then we look for balance, activities which have a low give, high receive are sustainable. Those that have a high give, low receive are draining, right? Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. I'll give you an example of this. And then secondly, the 3-bucket allocation strategy, the second strategy, we take all of our contribution, all the ways we're giving, all the ways we're putting things out, And we divide it into 3 buckets. The first bucket is passion projects, things that we feel energized and really passionate and strong emotions about. Those we give a weight of 40%. What lights you up, that gets 40%, because anything you do in that area is going to make you feel good for the most part. Second is the skill sharing bucket, and that one gets a 30% of your time and energy. And then the last bucket is the obligation bucket. The bucket, the things based on your feeling of obligation, like you have to do them. It might be, and I'll share an example of this, but what do you feel that you have to do? We're still going to do the things we must do and the things we have to do. We gotta brush our teeth every day. Some days, do you not feel like brushing your teeth? Of course, but you're still going to do it every day because you're obligated to take care of yourself. And I personally think that as human beings, we are obligated to take care of things outside of ourselves, not just us. We are social beings, and I think we need to learn to live as such. A couple of examples of balanced contribution. Jenna works as a full-time in tech, and she used to volunteer every single weekend out of guilt. After an energy audit, she realized that her weekend commitments were draining her. They were wearing her down. I'm not sure why she felt guilty and why she felt like she had to do things every single weekend and contribute every single weekend to the cause she was contributing to, but she did. So she shifted to mentoring girls in the STEM program just 2 hours a month. Now, instead of doing 8 days or more a month, she was doing 2 hours a month. Her give and receive ratio soared, and she now looks forward to giving. She looks forward to mentoring girls because it's not draining. It's something that charges her batteries and fills her up. Marcus used the 3 bucket method. He realized his time was overly spent on community events that he did not enjoy. His solution, he reallocated time to coach youth soccer, which was a passion of his. After resuming, offered resume workshops, and still attended monthly HOA meetings because he felt like he was obligated to do that and participate in the community that he lived in. I got another one, but I'm not going to share it. So, psychological and emotional impact of giving. Now, the thing about giving, and we've talked about this month before, is what you give, what you put out into the world is what you get back. Your energy too. So if you're putting out something with the energy around it that you're grumbling and you don't really want to be there, and I've seen this in different people and different times I've volunteered, you can tell the ones that are there because of their work environment, they're getting paid to be there. You can tell the ones that love it. You can tell the ones that are just meh, and you can tell the ones that would rather be almost anywhere than doing what they're doing right now. When we give an alignment with our joy and our passion and our purpose, we get dopamine hit. It spikes and we feel a sense of reward, right? This is all energy and chemically related. What you give is what you get. It's a universal law. I didn't make it up. Serotonin stabilizes our mood, and so we are in a better mood when we're giving in a balanced way. It's just like work. If you're a workaholic, that is not balanced. Now, I am personally, and I've said it so many times, I could kick myself, but I still believe it. I say balance is BS. It's different for each and every one of us. So we have to decide what is the right balance for us. And it changes over time. How much time and energy we spend raising our family is much higher when our kids are little than when they're full grown adults and can take care of themselves and make their own decisions. So how do we go about, once we look at this, we can do an energy audit and we can say, okay, yeah, my energy is way off the charts, and pull back on the things that don't build us up or make us feel good and contribute more to things that would, or look for totally different things and ways and strategies that would make us feel good. Boundaries are an example of self-worth. When we set boundaries and we include ourselves in our decision making, it's not being selfish. It's figuring out how we can it's actually being non-selfish. It's setting an example for other people and giving them permission to figure out what's right for them as well. And I think that is one of the most positive ways we can contribute to the world, is by setting a good example. When we align and we've talked about this as well, when we align with our giving, with our personal values, it absolutely positively reflects in our giving. So we want to make sure that we're looking at our values and the giving and the volunteering we're doing and making sure that there's a match, especially an energetic and a curiosity and a I feel great about doing this match. Guess what? There's so many things we can do that make us feel good. Why would we ever do anything that makes us feel bad? It reminds me, my dad would always say, if you got a glass of wine and you didn't like the first taste, you don't drink the wine, you just order another glass. Life is too short to consume something that you do not love and that doesn't make you feel good. And that reminds me of this. We want to do things when it comes, especially to contribution and giving, with the right emotions and the right reasons in our heart. There's apps and planners. Usually, or I have found that tools and resources are available to help support us into feeling more balanced in our contribution. Balance doesn't require more effort usually. It usually, like our life, requires better systems, processes, procedures, habits. And we got to have those for our lives just like we do for our businesses. And better tools, because there's so many tools available now to help us. For example, there's apps and planners. You can use Trello or Notion to organize volunteer time. You can use Rescue Time to track energy spending activities. And you can use Calm or Headspace, or I like Believe apps to check in with yourself emotionally and to do things like that. I've got some recommended reads. I'm not going to share those, but I could. If you're curious about what are some books that you can read to get more information on this, just hit me up and ask. Overcoming Guilt by Saying No. Here's the thing about guilt. If you feel guilty because you say no, then you'll always think that you have to say yes to everything. But it is not humanly possible to do everything, be everything, say yes to everything. Not only would you get burnt out way before you could say yes to all the things you actually want to say yes to, but you would end up probably harming yourself mentally, physically, and emotionally. So we don't want to do that. So how do you say no gracefully? It's pretty easy. You just say, hey, I'm honored that you thought of me, but I can't give this the energy and time that it deserves. Or if it's not a fit for me right now, it's not a fit for me right now. Sorry, I've got other commitments and priorities. It's just not a fit for me right now. Doesn't mean you can't hit me up in the future, but not right now. There's lots of ways, and we've talked about them already, non-monetary ways to give back. I say explore those because they're often way more effective and exponentially valuable to organizations than just giving money. And then how do you organize? Then the rest is about how organizations can do the same thing. So I'm not going to talk about it. So what are you doing today? We are going to do an energy audit on our overarching giving and contribution, or we're going to apply the 3-bucket time allocation strategy to our giving and take a look at it. If we find, when we do a little energy audit on our 3 buckets, that we're way out of whack between the 40, 30, 30, we want to reevaluate that. If you've got 60% that feels like obligation to you, you need to replace at least 30% of that with skills-based contribution or passion projects, right? Pretty easy. All right. Any question about this? Hit me up and ask. But that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do an energy audit on all the types of ways I contribute. And then I'm going to do both. Okay, right? I'm going to not just do one. I'm going to do both. Then I'm going to put it in the buckets. I'm going to see where I'm at. I'm going to say, okay, what do I need to do based on this accurate information of me assessing myself? All right. Have an awesome day. If I can help you, ask. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow, of course.